Let's continue with Jonsbo products, and apart from the D31 that I covered a couple of days ago, or maybe a week, we have the CR-3000 for today's video, and to cover everything that you need to know, including benchmarks, tutorial how to install it, the design and everything else. But after the CR-3000 there are loads of other products from Jonsbo coming to this channel, and I can't wait to get a better look at those because one is quite bigger than usual, but you'll see in time. Let's start with the CR-3000, and do stick around because this CPU cooler has 4 or 5 mirror effects on it, and it has only 2 fans, which only one is RGB. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. What's it all about? As you can see, you have the black version and you have the white version as well, which I think both look really outstanding. And the white version, yeah, it has silverish passive heatsink, the passive part that cools down, dissipates the heat on both. So black and white version have that silverish, it's not colored, it's not anything. But when you place it inside the build, it's not that noticeable, because I personally hate when it's that stock silver color bouncing off in your build, but this one is done outstanding. Now, why there isn't any RGB in the middle fan? Because it's not seen. As you can see, it's right here in the middle, and that's why they skipped it, so that's good. So let's start with basic stuff. Let's go with the specifications. We have dimensions 120 x 132 x 160. Dimensions of the fans 120 120 x 25. We have hydraulic bearing, and we have 7 heat pipes with 6 millimeters of thickness. Then we have TDP up to 260 watts. Fan speed goes from 600 to 1500 RPMs. The fan airflow at the lowest point is 28.12 CFM, while the highest, the maximum RPMs, is 59.48 CFMs. I think this CPU cooler would perform much better if we use one of those 80 CFM fans. But regardless to that, fan air pressure from 0.26 to 1.61 millimeters H2O, and decibel noise from 22 to 32 decibels. Even though placing it on full speed, it doesn't get to 32 decibels. I think it goes around 28, 29, because while benchmarking it, it didn't go at that high decibel range. Mean time before failure is 40,000 hours at room temperature at 25 degrees Celsius. We have connections 4-pin PWM and 3-pin addressable RGB. It supports LG 1700, 1200 and everything comparing to 11.5X, so 1, 5, 6, whatever, and AMD AM4 and AM5. Now, what's the part that you need to know? Each passive heatsink has a small canal for the cable that runs from the top part right here that shines as you desire. So you can adjust the lights through the addressable RGB header connected to your motherboard and control it via motherboard software. Each of those canals has one cable running from each of the top cover of the passive heatsink. Now, it's some strange connector which isn't standard, but that daisy chains to the front fan, which ends up going as an addressable RGB. It's a bit trickier, but I'll break it down to you. My advice, first place the middle fan and then go with the outer second fan, because then you'll be able to daisy chain everything. In those terms, because the fans as a PWM connection also need to be daisy chained. So when you place the middle fan, you have 3 cables sticking out, 2 from the passive heatsink for the addressable RGB and 1 for the PWM for the fan. This is why the front fan is the most important one, because everything goes connected to it. So what you have to do now is either connect everything before you place the fan, or somehow remove the cables so you have a nice fixture of placing the front fan on the passive heatsink and then connect everything. My advice, place all the cables behind the CPU cooler so you could just reroute them behind the case, and that will be all when we're talking about installation. Now, I won't be showing much of the case because you already seen it in the D31 video. This is just for this cooler. The hinges, the clamps that hold the fans are quite nicely designed, but they tend to fall off when you're placing the fans, so be quite careful so you don't get how do I say, a bit nervous while doing so. So just in case, be very careful and try to hold them tightly enough so they don't fall off the fan. But when you place them on the passive heatsink, you don't have to worry. They're just designed that way. The cool thing, it has loads of heat pipes going throughout the passive cooler, and it would be really interesting if you place higher CFM fans on the cooler, which would only mean better heat dissipation through the passive heatsink. But what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, 5 infinity mirrors, right? So we have 2 on each passive heatsink cover and 1 in the middle of the fan. Plus you have the whole fan going into RGB if you decide to do so. As you know, I stick to single color. And you have the Jonsbo logo on each passive heatsink, also in color. I do have to say, it's all up to you to decide. Addressable RGB, static color, 2 colors or whatever, or just switch it off. Because the air cooler looks quite nice even without the RGB lights. And I'm quite satisfied with the design. It fits perfectly in the D31 screen mesh case. And that's all when we're talking about tutorial, design, and everything that you need to know. Now, for the benchmarks, it cools down 13400F in AIDA64 at 52 degrees Celsius, and it keeps the clock at 4000 MHz. In Cinebench, it goes up and down literally everywhere. If you watch the D31 video, you would see this already, but here's another recap. From 47 to 53 degrees Celsius, clock speeds go everywhere. But it's not because of the cooler, it's more because of the processor. So I would say keeps the processor quite nice and stable-ish, which, as already stated, it's more because of the processor. I think it would be interesting if I get a chance to test it out with my old and trustworthy AMD Ryzen 9 7900X3D, which I already have loads of benchmarks. So if there will be a chance for this CR-3000 to be placed in a Jonsbo case and to compare the benchmarks with that processor, this cooler, and other AIOs and coolers, because it's quite interesting to see those results. Other than that, love the design of the cooler. It's not flimsy, it's not badly designed. It doesn't have any flaws when we're talking about the final finish. That's it. I really like the design, love the cooler. It could be much better with a bit higher CFM fans, a bit higher speeds, because as already stated, they don't even go at that high decibel range as they stated on the box. So there's more space for improvement there, but I'll leave it at that and leave it at Jonsbo to do their job, as they did so far outstandingly, and that will be all for today. In those terms, if you're interested in pairing up, if you have a Jonsbo case and you want to pair it up with their cooler, Jonsbo CR-3000 link is in the description below, so you can check out the prices and availability, of course. And if you liked it, if you liked the video, if you like the cooler, if you like me talking so much, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and click that notification bell, because as already stated at the beginning of the video, more Jonsbo products coming right up, and one is pretty high, big, spacious, and we'll see that quite shortly. Thanks for watching, see you next time guys, bye bye.